Hello, everybody. I'm going to read you a story from the Bible, then we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll do a craft. So the story from the Bible is called The Wedding in Cana. There was a wedding in the town of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine had given out, Jesus' mother said to him, "They're out of wine." "You mustn't tell me what to do," Jesus replied. "My time has not yet come." Jesus' mother then told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." The Jews have rules about ritual washing, and for this purpose, 6 stone jars were there, each one large enough to hold between 20 and 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill these jars with water." They filled them to the brim, and then he told them, "Now, draw some water out and take it to the man in charge of the feast." They took him the water, which had now turned into wine, and he tasted it. He didn't know where this wine had come from, but of course the servants who had drawn out the water knew. So he called the bridegroom and he said to him, "Everyone else serves the best wine first, and after the guests have drunk a lot, he serves the ordinary wine. But you have kept the best wine until now." Jesus performed this first miracle in Cana in Galilee. There he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him.
What an amazing story we have just heard. Let me just think back first to what we heard last week. Do you remember, those of you who are here, we heard about the calling of Samuel by God. Now, he was only a little boy, wasn't he? We don't know how old he was, but we know he was still counted as a boy, and people tended to be thought of as men a bit earlier than we would do nowadays. He was a boy, maybe 13, younger than 13, asleep at night, and God called him. And he called him into a life of serving him and being used by him in amazing ways. And Samuel learned, even at that age, when God called, he said, "Here I am. What do you want, God? Speak, I'm listening." And I wonder if, sometimes we think, that's fine, but I'm not very big, I'm not very important, and I don't know how God could possibly use somebody like me. Well, I think that's where today's story can really help. What happened today? Gosh, Jesus was at a party, he was at a wedding party and having a wonderful time. But then suddenly the most embarrassing thing happened, which was that the wine ran out. Imagine if you had a birthday party with all your favourite friends there, and suddenly the cake ran out before anybody had had a chance, or before everybody had had a chance to have a piece of cake. Maybe just 3 or 4 people had a piece of cake, and there were 26 people going, "He's run out of cake, she's run out of cake, there's no more cake." That would be so embarrassing, and you'd feel so sad. That's what had happened. He'd run out of wine. Thankfully, Jesus was there. What did Jesus do? Jesus saw the situation this man was in, and he wanted to help. And he went to the servants and he said, "Take some water," he said. "Take some water." So they took some water, just normal water. And he said, "Get those barrels. What I want you to do is just pour the water into the barrels." And as they did it, we don't know quite how it happened, but as they did it, it seemed to turn into the most wonderful wine. And they took it to the man, to the groom, and they said, "Look, here, just taste this." He tasted it, and he said, "This is astonishing. This is amazing. What has happened? You have kept the best wine till last." Wow. Jesus had taken ordinary water and he had turned it into the best wine. And I think sometimes, we think, how can God use me? I'm just me. And God says, it's not about just you. First of all, I made you and I love you and you are amazing. But also, it's not about just you. It's about what I can do through you. All you need to bring is the water, is you. You just come. You may feel like I'm just ordinary water. God says, I will work through you. I will work with you. I will help you to become the best wine. The stuff that I will do through you will be like the best wine. Is it down to us? No. We just bring the water. And it is God who makes the wine. It is God who can work in us and through us for his glory. Just remember that. You're never too young. You're never too plain. You're never too boring when you've got God working through you.
Okay, so now let's do a craft. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little demonstration craft of Jesus turning water into wine. Now for this, you're going to need 2 paper plates, or you could also have 2 pieces of white card and draw around something which is circular and then cut it out. So you've got 2 round shapes, basically the same size, which can fit on top of each other. 1 split pin, whoops daisy, you know these things like that? Can you see that? It's sort of got a funny little bobbly end and 2 little legs. There you go, I expect you'd have seen them before. If you don't have one of these, then I think probably if you ask your adult to help you with a piece of string with a very big knot at one end, then when we make the hole, because what we're going to do is we're going to put a hole in the middle of these plates and put the pin through so that you can swizzle the top plate or the top circle on top of the one below. So I think if you don't have a split pin, you could ask an adult to have a piece of string, do a very big knot at one end, put it through, and the knot will stop it going all the way through, and then do another knot at the other end. I think that would work. You're going to need some blue crayon or blue paint, purple crayon or blue purple paint or felt pen, whatever, and brown or whatever colour you think the jug should be. And some scissors. So, what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is draw a jug outline on our lovely first top plate. So I'll draw a jug outline with a brown pen, black pen actually I think it is. You can do it however you think a jug should look. I'm going to try and do something about the shape that I think probably jugs were in Jesus' time. I don't actually know what shape jugs were in Jesus' time, but I have seen a few things in museums or a few pictures of things in museums that would suggest to me they might look a bit like that. But you can draw whatever shape you want, actually, of course. And you know, if I was doing this again, I'd make it a bit fatter. But there we go. And then I'm going to do a sort of thing like this. I'll show you in a second, which is where we're going to cut a hole out. There. It has to come a little bit below the middle. If the middle of the plate is about here, like its belly button, the hole should go a little bit below it, okay? So we still have space to put the split pin through. And then I'm going to take my brown crayon, or you could take your paint. If you don't have brown paint, do you know how to make brown paint? It is green and red paint. I got that out because I wasn't quite sure I had a brown crayon, but then I found one. Or brown felt tip, or as I said before, any kind of colour you think would be nice. You could even decorate your jug, couldn't you? You could decorate it with colours. They might have had pattern jugs in those times. As I said, I've never actually seen a jug from Jesus' time. They probably would have been made of clay, wouldn't it? So they might have painted on top of it once it had been fired, cooked in the oven, or they might have made some sort of scratches and grooves on it to make a decoration. I don't know. Right, I'm going to press the boost button, turbo button, so you don't have to watch me doing all this. So this is my jug. Actually, I didn't mean to do the top all decorated like that. It's just because of the ridges on the plate. That's how it came out. It's quite nice. Then, take your other plate. Turns out I have more than one. And do a line across the middle of it. Approximately across the middle. Actually, it probably ought to be really, let me do my second one. It ought to be really across the middle because you don't want to get that wrong. So really across the middle, like that. And then draw the bottom half blue. I'm going to do that with my crayon. Holding the crayon on one side, because then you can sort of, if you hold it on one side, you can colour things in much faster. You've got a long bit of crayon to do that with. There, one side blue. Sorry, I noticed I haven't done it very beautifully, so I'm going to do it a bit more beautifully. There we go. And then I'm going to do the other side, a sort of wine colour. Well, I've got this purple. Might be wine. You can have, of course, you can have red wine, which is sort of purplish, or white wine. But I imagine that the wine in Jesus' time was red wine. And again, I don't actually know why I think that, because I wasn't there in Jesus' time. And the Bible doesn't mention what colour the wine was. So there we are. Now you've got one half sort of watercoloured, blue, and one half wineish coloured, purple. Now, you need to get a pair of scissors. I forgot to tell you that. So I'm going to just quickly pause this while I go and get a pair of scissors. Got. And remember your jug with the hole in it. You might want to get your adults, because it's a bit dangerous, to make a hole in that bit, in the white bit, which you haven't coloured in. And then very carefully, you or your adult can cut around that shape so that you have a hole. I expect you can imagine already what we're going to do with this next, can't you? There we go, hole. And then we put one on top of the other, the jug on top of the other one. And get a little pointy thing, I've got a skewer here, and put it through the middle. Get your adult to do that, of both plates. And then find your split pin or your piece of string with a big knot on one end. Put it through and fold those little legs back, like that. And now we have got the water in the jug. And then when the servants poured it out, they discovered it had turned into wine. Isn't that amazing? All we need to do is bring the water, and Jesus will turn it into wine. I'm not talking about real water and wine now. I'm using picture language now. Picture language. We bring whatever we have, and God can use it in whatever way He wants to. He can do amazing things through us for His glory and for His bigger plan. There we go. See you soon.